I've always been a big fan of fishing. It's been a hobby of mine for as long as I can remember. There's something about being out on the water that helps me clear my mind, just me, the lake, and the quiet. Usually, fishing is the one thing that helps me escape from the stress of everyday life. But after what happened that day, I can't even look at a lake the same way. It was a Saturday afternoon, around noon. The weather was perfect for fishing, overcast with a slight breeze. I had the day to myself, so I figured I'd head out to one of my favorite spots. There's this lake about an hour's drive from my house, surrounded by dense woods. Not many people go out there, which makes it the perfect place for a quiet day of fishing. I got to the lake and started unloading my gear. I had my small aluminum boat, a few rods, and a cooler packed with lunch. I was looking forward to spending the afternoon on the water. The air was cool and the sky was gray, but the lake was calm. It looked like I had the whole place to myself, which suited me just fine. I launched the boat and rowed out to the middle of the lake where I'd had some luck in the past. The water was smooth, like glass, and the only sounds were the occasional chirping of birds and the soft creak of my boat as it drifted. I cast my line and waited. Within minutes, I got a bite. It was a decent-sized fish, too. I reeled it in, feeling a surge of excitement. I hadn't been out there for 10 minutes, and I'd already caught something. It was shaping up to be a great day. After I released the fish, I cast my line again and settled back in my seat, enjoying the stillness of the lake. But as I waited for another bite, I noticed something strange. The water near the boat rippled just for a second. It wasn't a huge ripple, nothing that really alarmed me, but it was odd. I glanced around, wondering if maybe it was a fish or something moving beneath the surface, but I didn't see anything. I shrugged it off and kept fishing. A few minutes later, I got another bite. This one felt stronger than the first. I started reeling it in, the line tight and heavy. It felt like I'd hooked something big, and I was excited to see what it was. But just as I was about to pull the fish out of the water, something happened. The line snapped. Not like it just broke because the fish was too heavy. Something yanked it. Hard. I was left staring at the water in disbelief, my broken line dangling from the rod. Whatever had taken my catch had to be enormous. I hadn't seen anything, but I sure as hell felt it. I leaned over the edge of the boat, peering into the murky water, but it was impossible to see anything more than a few feet down. And then the ripples came again, this time bigger and closer to the boat. I sat back, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling that was creeping up my spine. Maybe it was just a big fish, something bigger than I was used to. But when I looked around, I noticed something strange. The birds were gone. They had been chirping earlier, flitting around the trees, but now it was dead silent. The only sound was the soft lapping of water against the side of my boat. A knot of unease settled in my gut, but I wasn't ready to give up just yet. I grabbed a new hook from my tackle box and tied it onto the line, trying to ignore the growing tension in the air. As I was working, I noticed the boat start to rock, just slightly at first, then harder. The ripples were back, but this time they were stronger, more persistent. It was like something was moving just beneath the surface, circling the boat. My heart started to race. I dropped the rod and reached for the motor, fumbling with the key to start it. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I didn't want to stick around to find out. As I turned the key, the boat lurched violently, knocking me off balance. The next thing I knew, the boat flipped. It happened so fast I didn't even have time to react. 1 minute I was trying to start the motor, and the next I was underwater, the cold shock of the lake hitting me like a punch to the gut. I kicked my legs, struggling to right myself, and broke the surface, gasping for air. My boat was upside down, bobbing on the water a few feet away. I could barely process what had just happened. I'd been in this lake dozens of times before, and nothing like this had ever happened. My heart was pounding in my chest, and my body felt like it was moving on autopilot as I started swimming toward shore. I wasn't too far out, maybe 50 yards or so, but it felt like miles. The water was colder than I remembered, and every time I glanced back, I half expected to see something massive rising from the depths behind me. But all I saw were the ripples trailing in my wake. When I finally reached the shore, I collapsed onto the wet grass, gasping for breath. I rolled onto my back and stared up at the gray sky, trying to calm my racing heart. My clothes were soaked and my hands were shaking, but I was safe. I had made it. After a few minutes, I sat up and looked back at the lake. My boat was still floating upside down, rocking gently on the water. The lake was calm again, as if nothing had happened, but I knew better. I didn't know what had flipped my boat, and I wasn't sure I wanted to find out. All I knew was that I needed to get out of there. I stumbled back to my truck, my legs weak and trembling. My boat was still out there, but I wasn't going back for it. Not now. Not ever. I threw my gear into the back of the truck and climbed into the driver's seat, my hands still shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. I took one last look at the lake through the rearview mirror before pulling out of the parking lot. I never told anyone about what happened that day. Part of me didn't think they'd believe me. Hell, I'm not sure I even believe it myself, but one thing's for sure. I haven't been back to that lake since, and I don't plan to. Whatever was out there in the water, it wasn't something I ever want to cross paths with again.